Lahore, Pakistan, a bustling city filled with life and the chaotic hum of millions. But in the late 1990s, this vibrant city was also the hunting ground of one of the most chilling serial killers in history, Javed Iqbal, a man who claimed to have killed over 100 boys, leaving behind a legacy of horror that still echoes today. Javed Iqbal was born in 1956 into a well-off family in Lahore. By all accounts, he had a normal upbringing, attending school and later opening his own steel recasting business. But beneath the surface of his seemingly ordinary life lay a mind disturbed, a man consumed by anger, revenge, and a twisted sense of justice. Iqbal wasn't always a killer, but like many serial killers, his crimes were born from a complex mix of psychological turmoil and personal trauma. In 1999, Iqbal's sinister plan began to unfold. Targeting young boys from impoverished backgrounds, children who were often runaways or street vendors, he lured them with promises of money, food, or a safe place to sleep. But what awaited these boys was not kindness. It was something far more terrifying. Iqbal would bring them to his home, where he methodically carried out his horrifying acts. He strangled his victims with iron chains and then dismembered their bodies, disposing of the remains in vats of acid. What made his crimes even more disturbing was his methodical documentation. He kept records of each victim, complete with photographs and details of the murders. But Javed Iqbal wasn't caught in the act. No, he came forward himself. In December 1999, he mailed a letter to the police and local newspapers, confessing to the murder of 100 boys. He wrote with chilling detail about how he disposed of their bodies in acid and dumped the sludge into local sewers. Along with the letter, he included photographs of his victims and their clothing as proof. He claimed his actions were revenge against society for the abuse he endured and the injustices he perceived. When police raided Iqbal's home, they were met with a scene straight out of a nightmare. Acid-filled vats, chains, photographs, and neatly kept records of his crimes. It was undeniable proof that Iqbal was telling the truth. This was not just a case of murder. It was a calculated and systematic killing spree, targeting the most vulnerable members of society. After an intense manhunt, Iqbal was arrested. During his trial, he remained unrepentant, claiming his actions were justified. The court sentenced him to death in a verdict that captured the public's outrage. The judge even declared that Iqbal should be executed in the same way he killed his victims, strangled with chains and dissolved in acid. But justice took a strange turn. Before the sentence could be carried out, Javed Iqbal was found dead in his cell, an apparent suicide. To this day, questions linger about his death. Was it truly a suicide, or was it an act of vigilante justice? Iqbal's crimes left an indelible scar on Pakistan. They exposed deep flaws in a society where the most vulnerable, children from poor families, are often ignored and forgotten. His victims weren't just killed, they were erased, their lives reduced to entries in his twisted records. Today, the story of Javed Iqbal serves as a dark reminder of what can happen when societal systems fail to protect their most at-risk members. It is a story of horror, but also a call to action, to ensure that no child ever falls through the cracks again. This was the story of Javed Iqbal, the Monster of Lahore, a story of unimaginable horror, but one that must never be forgotten.